Here we are once again, ready to take a walk into the stories making the headlines in the papers across Nigeria, from the Punch to the Vanguard, Premium Times, and Daily Trust. We've got it all here, and we've got all the stories hot and ready to go. This is Freshly Pressed here on the Smooth Breakfast on Smooth 98.1. We love music, we love life, and we love to talk about what's going on in Nigeria as well. It's another interactive session. My name is Ayokunmi. For those who are just tuning in for the first time, welcome to the smoothest newspaper review show on radio that you can take to the bank without a doubt. Like I said, it's interactive, which means that you get to share your thoughts with us on the stories. You get to weigh in with your own views, your own opinions. You are most welcome. The WhatsApp number is 0911 999 0981 0911 999 0981. You can also join the stream on YouTube. Yes, we are streaming live. For those who love the audio visual, you can always go back to catch the live stream if you cannot at this time. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Leave your comments in the chat box. Look forward to hearing from you. All right. Joining me on a Monday morning, let's get things rocking. Two fine gentlemen in the persons of AB Bozimo, and of course, Mr. C. AB, good morning to you.
Good morning, Ayo. Good morning, Mr. C, and good morning after a wonderful public holiday to all of the wonderful listeners out there. I hope you guys had a restful and highly reverential time.
Good morning, Ayo. Good morning, AB. Good morning, Lagos. Good morning, virtual listeners.
Yes, indeed. And for those who love to join on YouTube, I mean, I would say another reason to join on YouTube. I talk about AB's backgrounds, beautiful buildings as well, but I need to talk about the foreground as well, because very nice shirt he has on. So, yes, for those who have taste and style, YouTube is definitely a place for you to actually be this morning. All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty of the conversation. A number of stories this morning. I sigh in advance, but let's take it step by step. Mr. C, let's talk about the NLC, Nigeria Labour Congress. This is coming from Premium Times. Now, NLC and federal government workers have demanded an urgent review of the national minimum wage, insisting that the current 70,000 naira is no longer sustainable. Now, they made the demand following the bold steps taken by several states across the country to increase the minimum wage of their workers above the 70,000 benchmark in response to the prevailing economic realities. We've been hearing these rumblings in the last couple of weeks, NLC talking about need to review the national minimum wage and so on and so forth. The minimum wage they agreed to after a lot of back and forth and dancing and singing and so on and so forth. But did they not realize that the 70,000 naira wasn't even sustainable to start with, let alone talking about not being sustainable anymore?
Interesting question, Ayo. And it's said that almost 3 years after this whole conversation started, Labour is seemingly just waking up to the cold reality that 70,000 naira was never a figure to start discussions with. It's truly regrettable. And I'm clearly confident, and I recall that for the past 2 years, I've been clearly stating that 70,000 was not a workable figure. Now, eventually, after the back and forth, it was signed into law sometime in July 2024. The first set of states to start paying this minimum wage started in October. Some states just started paying in 2025.
Right.
And even at the time they arrived at 70, the fuel price had gone bonkers, Naira had lost some value, and it was clear even to the blind that 70K was not feasible. Now, what is Labour asking for? They're demanding a minimum wage review, forgetting that in the act that is set up to regulate this process, it's every 2 years or every 3 years. So if you are to follow the provisions of that act, this call is it doesn't align with the provisions. Meaning the government can simply say, guys, look, provisions of the act say every 3 years. It's not been 3 years yet. It will be 3 years next year, or it will be 3 years in 2027. Now, beyond all of this, we then ask the question, what are they now asking for? Ladies and gentlemen, it even gets more ridiculous. They're now asking for 150,000 naira. I'm like, make these things make sense. We have continually said on this show, Labor get professional negotiators to do these negotiations for you. Properly articulate your positions. Properly show that there is money, but it's not being judiciously expended. And properly show how each state can properly and lawfully afford to pay the figures you want. Well, they go in there, they're not experienced negotiators, they're not trained negotiators, and then you cannot rule out the possibility of a conspiracy theory that at the end of the day, some of them compromise the futures of Nigerian workers for personal reasons. Now, Nigeria is a country that eats every spectrum of change, every atom of change. You have an individual who works for 35 years. When he retires, the amount he's given for 35 years of service is very meager. Contrast that with another who's elected into an elective position for 4 years. When the elected individual leaves office, is compensated and generously. Now, what Labour should be doing, beyond shouting or screaming for minimum wage review, is holding the state governments to task. A lot of them simply are not doing the bare minimum. I'm sorry to say this. Yeah, it's fun to bash the government and the center. One lot of the state governments are not their weight. Labour has now come up with plans that, okay, if you did the following items from A to E, we'll see a corresponding increase in the GDP of each state economy, and then a corresponding increase in the national GDP. None of that is happening. All they're saying is times are hard, life is hard. Yes, we all know that. What you would think that an intelligent approach to this would be to show how it will be funded and how it will be sustained such that it becomes a self-running process. But sadly, Labour hasn't done it. And if we can only fold our hands, hope and pray that by some stretch of good luck, the right people will seize on the right things and present the right proposal to government.
Well, at this point in time, you just wonder with the way Labour have decided to go back and forth. It seems like putting the cart before the horse is something that they are very, very, very good at. Anyways, still talking about matters that have to do with money and remuneration and so on and so forth. AB, let us talk. Let us talk about what's going on in the political space. We're heading into the Guardian here, and this happened in Lagos over the weekend, where miscreants suspected to be political thugs invaded a rally organized by the Lagos State chapter of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, led by the former Minister of Interior, Rauf Aregbesola. Now, the rally held at Lion Field in Alimosho local government of the state was organized to receive and welcome the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 elections, that's Peter Obi, and the party's 2023 governorship flag bearer in Lagos State in person of Gbadebo Roads Viber. And it was gathered that shortly after the kickoff of the program, miscreants stormed the venue, sacked all the participants. I can go on and on and on about this, but this was in the news over the weekend, and it was a very, very distasteful sort of incident to happen. And you just wonder, AB, what exactly happened to the so-called democratic values that we're supposed to be espousing as a so-called democratic state if opposition parties, opposition figures want to gather and they're dispelled by whomever it might be?
I think this is very contrary to the notion of Lagos as a city of excellence, because what is there to fear? By the time you have this kind of thing happening, I don't know whether there's been any formal government statement to the effect or opposition to this kind of mayhem. But Lagos, ordinarily, at one point, would have been known as a place where ideas and ideals thrive. With this kind of breakdown of law and order, which I would say was presaged during the election when certain people were also assaulted for seemingly preferring a certain candidate over another. That had no consequence then. And so, if anything, it may have emboldened others now to take it to a new level where they are. I understand that the place was supposed to happen in one place. That place was attacked. They moved it to another place, and now the story comes out that the second place is attacked. So clearly, there is a deliberate attempt or effort to cause exclusion and confusion in Lagos, the so-called center of excellence. I think Lagos has a lot of excellence that can be associated with it, but these are troubling indicators of what may be to come. And while we have a governor who's working from a president who's working from abroad after being waved bye-bye by four or more governors and other government officials who should have better things to do with their time, life, and others. This is where he supposedly built Lagos. We hear he built Lagos. I don't know what that even means, but if the place he built is descending into this kind of mayhem and ignorance on display, it's not a good message for anybody. I believe people have freedom of association, the desire and right to say, I like this person or I don't like this person in a peaceful manner, and they should be allowed to test themselves come election time and day. But to
Right.
have miscreants, hoodlums, thugs, terrorizing fellow citizens, this is entering the arena of literal terrorism, and it should be treated as such. There should be very firm consequences. You cannot tell me that not a single person was engaged in this nasty behavior can be rounded up. So this also goes to the police. Where were the police? Anytime 13-year-old students want to assemble to complain about not enough flavors of ice cream, police always have advanced intelligence to stop them. We know that. When they want to say their ripped jeans are not ripped enough, police always have advanced intelligence. Now, people are stalking people who want to do a rally, and police are nowhere to be seen. Now, that person whom they on Twitter cannot be seen saying one thing about it. But when women want to change lip gloss, Hyundai has 50 posts on X. So the police, the security forces are indicted in this because their so-called advanced information that they always have for irrelevant things never shows up here. It's a complex situation, and we definitely need to get response and proper consequences from the authorities. Otherwise, we're descending into where mayhem will become the order of the day. That is not what we want at the center of excellence, Lagos, Nigeria.
No doubt about that. Mr. C, I know you have a word to chip in, but let me just, should I say, lead you into this. Now, looking at what happened in Lagos here. Now, the ruling party, the APC, have denied any involvement in this particular situation. I mean, all well and good, even though there were videos that showed that the venue that was supposed to be used, they held or they had an impromptu event there. That's by the side. Now they've said severally that there's no notion of a one party state and so on and so forth. But don't incidents like this just buttress the point that it seems like that is what is going on?
So, thank you, Ayo. So, what sympathizers and hardliners of the ruling party are doing is they're trying to banish and prohibit any expression of independent thought or association. Now, here's a challenge. You can't do that because they're ideas. You can't ban or prohibit a thought or a concept. Now, just to add to what AD said earlier, the police were actually there, but claimed they were overwhelmed, whatever that nonsense means. Then our good friend Hundein is now in Abuja. He's no longer in Lagos. He's now the National Force PRO. So it speaks volumes that the ruling party will deny any involvement with this. And that's fine. In law, there's something we do. We ask a question. Who stood to benefit from all of this? Is it the Labour Party? Is it the PDP? Is it any of the other Muslim parties masquerading around? The only party that stood to benefit from the mayhem, the chaos, and the violence, we know who that party is. and they know themselves. So all these fake and false denials are neither here nor there. But the truth is, Nigeria will not get to a one-party state. I want listeners to listen, hear my voice, record what I'm saying. They won't get there. Don't worry. Nigeria is too big. We've grown too much for a one-party state. It's not going to happen.
Let's see how that all plays out. I'm still talking about matters that have to do with security. Let's walk into the vanguard here. Now, this is a three-part, but we'll try to tie everything together. And it was a bloody weekend across Nigeria. As 102 people were left dead, including security personnel and suspected bandits in a series of violence incidents reported in Borno, Sokoto, Edo, and Katsina states as well. I would love to go on and on, but I would just love you to get into this particular story here, Mr. C. I mean, another 100 plus people have been killed here, added to what we talk about every single day. In fact, at this point, it kind of feels like a day we don't talk about people getting killed on this show. That is the exception rather than the rule. And that in itself is a chilling thought.
Okay, thank you, Ryan. And first of all, our thoughts go out to the families of the innocent Nigerians who've senselessly lost their lives due to attacks by murderers and criminal individuals, most especially the non-state actors. Now, it was a bloody and sad weekend. The nation is in mourning. Officially, we have 102, and that goes to tell you that unofficially the figure will be higher. And this is across four states: Borno, Sokoto, Katsina, Edo. Now, within these four states, we're talking about three different geopolitical zones. So Borno is from the northeast, Sokoto and Katsina in the northwest, Edo is south-south. So 3 out of the 6 regions suffered bloody attacks. People died.
A lot of people died.
What is the value of a Nigerian life? What are the governments doing? So it beats the imagination that the security chiefs, all of them, without exception, are still sitting pretty in office. I want listeners to understand where I'm coming from. This is not about politics now. Imagine a gentleman, he has security guards in his house. He's robbed the first time. He keeps quiet. He's robbed the second time, robbed the third time, robbed the fourth time. And it's still the same set of security guards. Then some unfortunate soul comes to say, oh, don't sack them. They're doing their best. They're trying. You need to be more patient with them, and they will come good. Do you think the owner of that house, would you expect him to be inclined to listen to such nonsense? For how long is this going to continue? In Sokoto State, there's a glimmer of hope came out from the story because we read, and I encourage everyone to read the story. 2 communities attacked the non-state terrorist actors and reportedly killed a number of them. And it goes back to a point we've been hammering on this program for years. It is time for Nigerians to have the right to bear arms, personally.
Because it doesn't seem as if the security architecture is...
No, the current security architecture is not cutting it. Yes, we hear the president say he's determined to create state police. Now, it's one thing to say it, it's another thing to do it. And we already see the challenges with funding and equipping the existing security setup. So when you set up the state wing, the state versions of the police force, how will they be consistently funded and equipped? That is a question we cannot answer because we can't see the answer. This is on the back of the fact that many states are still not even paying the 70,000 minimum wage.
Right.
Now, again, another point we continue to hammer on this show: intelligence gathering by the security agencies. Is it only to forestall peaceful protests and rallies by opposition members? How is it that the DSS, which is charged with maintaining security internally alongside the Nigerian police force, did not get wind of these attacks before they happened. Meanwhile, they're busy asking a social media platform to delete a particular account. Make it make sense. Nigerians are losing their lives every day, and it's no surprise that investors are not coming. It's not a surprise, it's not coincidence. For how long will Nigerians continue to be attacked in their own homeland, and the forces tasked with the responsibility of protecting them clearly cannot do that?
Okay, Mr. C, I mean, we need to wrap up on this story, but before we do that, Amy, I'll come to you in a moment. Is it safe to say, looking at how things have played out up until this point, this is not the first set of security chiefs and heads of security agencies. Is it safe to say that there really isn't a will to deal with this problem? Because you kind of have different people coming in and we talk about the same things. We even talk about escalations in the incidents. Could that be where we are?
Sorry, there's something that is said in corporate circles or in the corporate world. We cannot continue to do the same thing over and over again or repeatedly and expect different results. Yes, we've been sacking security chiefs. So there are a number of reasons why this is happening. One is the lack of a proper will to decisively deal with the nonsense. Two is the poor economic climate. If people were gainfully employed and were earning reasonable means of livelihood, nobody would have time to be terrorizing another person.
Maybe, please.
Very briefly, I do not expect the president who chose to go out of the country at this point to have been able to predict these murders. That is not his role. However, it is his responsibility to prevent them. Like Mr. Sia said, we have enough people, enough agencies to have the pre-knowledge of the gathering of miscreants, criminals, and terrorists so that they can prevent it. If those people are not up to scratch, change them. There's no two ways about it. 102 on record, that's killed. That can easily be 4 or 5 times that injured. Some of those who are in hospital or elsewhere are going to die and join the numbers killed. Let us understand that this is the dimension of the problem. It's not just about the headline of, we are talking about 4 zones of 4 different locations in 3 zones. 50% of your country is facing this. And some idle governors are jumping in private jets to go and wave somebody by looking like almajiris on the tarmac side. I nearly vomited when I saw that video. And NTA had the guts to record it and put it out there on social media. That is what NTA thinks is an important thing to do. NTA will never be seen when people are being killed or trying to be rehabilitated. 150 million naira dollar aeroplane or so was what flew out with President Bola Tinubu. What would that have done in security or in economic terms for this country? I'll stop there.
Okay, so the last thing is the country is in mourning. Will the president cut short his holiday
or what?
And come back into the country to mourn with the nation?
Ever. Never.
So I'm going to contrast that. The Hamas attacks on Israel in October last year. Prime Minister Netanyahu was already in the US for a state visit when he got wind of that attack. He did not meet his host. He turned back and went back to his country. Will our president end the meeting on the what's up?
Never. I've sworn here. Never.
I just wonder, at the end of the day, even if he does turn around and come back to the country, will it make a huge difference at the end of the day? That's a question that I just wonder. And I wonder if you wonder that as well.
When he's here, they kill. When he's not here, they kill. In effect, that's why I first of all said it is not his responsibility to predict. I was very clear. There's room for everything, but to prevent, it is his responsibility, and he's failing at that responsibility.
All right, Ebi, let's step into the Guardian and talk about something Mr. C alluded to with the DSS. The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, they've called on President Tinubu to order the DSS to withdraw threats to ban social media platform X over comments made by Omoyele Sowore. The DSS have reportedly implied that it could move against X after Sowore posted a tweet. Now, Serap warned that such action would amount to collective punishment and would severely restrict citizens' freedom of expression and access to information. Well, as Mr. C alluded to, previously, that there are serious issues going on in the country, and this is what the DSS have decided, to highlight. But at the same time, is this not a case of being able to walk and chew gum at the same time, even though they seem to be walking and not chewing the gum as they should?
I will start with two things on a lighter note. First of all, Serap calling to President Bola Tinubu. President Tinubu's phone is on airplane mode. Sorry. Secondly, secondly, when we talk of the social media in Nigeria, there's one thing that they always put. Now there they go find DSS. When it comes to X and Twitter and other things, that's where you find DSS. When it comes to doing the intelligence work that will prevent murders, you won't find DSS. When it comes to doing the very important work that will enhance Nigerian security, you won't find DSS. They are there scrolling through Twitter. That's why they don't have time to fix their intelligence services. I'm afraid there is no circumstance and situation. If there is something that somebody says, there are means and ways to go about either demonstrating. Mr. C will know much better. Is it libel? Is it slander? Is it whatever it is? There are ways to punish, give consequences for statements that are illegal or unlawful. Going to threaten X with a ban is the most primitive, pathetic, puerile, and pointless way to go about it. And I'm afraid it is typical at this point of DSS. They will not be found doing their work. They are found scrolling on Twitter and throwing hissy fits. DSS should be ashamed of itself and should shut up and do the work that they are paid obviously too much to do, because they're not achieving anything. I'm annoyed about the 102 people officially killed in Nigeria on this same terra firma that I call Nigeria, my country. It is preposterous, it's unacceptable, and if DSS has nothing better to do, they should all sack themselves and go home and scroll all they want. They have no work they're doing. It is ridiculous. They should go to court and prosecute anybody that won't, and shut up and stop doing this kind of childish nonsense. Rubbish.
All right, AB, I can feel the tension in the building. Maybe just deep breaths, just deep breaths. I know it can be very infuriating, and it just gets under your skin. But we just need to keep it all together at the end of the day. Mr. C, time has absolutely flown by, but I need you to
Very quickly.
Yes, very, very quickly here as well. It also has to do with Serap. I mean, who seems to be doing the Lord's work here, and they've also filed a lawsuit against the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission, RMAFC, over the proposed salary increase for political and public office holders in Nigeria, particularly the president, vice president, governors, deputies, and lawmakers as well.
Okay, so very quickly, like you said, thank you, Shep. You're doing the Lord's work, and they shouldn't have to do this if the RMFAC would behave itself. I think it's completely irresponsible to want to increase salaries of political office holders at a time such as this. Remember, nobody compelled them to run for office. So the principle of non-voluntary fit injuria should apply. You knew what you were getting into. They're there for only a fixed period of time. And besides, they have allowances that are not made public. So most of them have official houses, have official vehicles, and then feeding and clothing, you will be shocked, is sorted out by the state. So what exactly is the salary for? Two, why is the RMFAC reluctant to tell us what the proposed percentage increase is?
This 114%. 114%. Double
now,
plus 14.
I have my doubts that the court will rule in Serap's favor, but it's truly shocking that the political class continues to be insensitive to the realities of Nigeria today. And sadly, I cannot guarantee that they will get the verdict, but this is a case that should not even be happening in the first place. The political class should learn to behave themselves. There's a time for everything. This is not the time. It's a premature move. It's insensitive, and it does not align with the mood of the nation at the current point in time.
One sentence. Contrast this with the fact that Labour is asking, Labour, though they have I have no regard for them personally, but Labour is crying for something more than 70. They are trying to raise those people's salaries by 114%. Just contrast the two.
All right, thank you for sharing your thoughts with me, gentlemen. Let me take your thoughts, Lagos. A number of messages here. Emeka Inikeja says 102 people killed and the murderers are not apprehended, but ordinary good thieves are quickly prosecuted and thrown in jail. Benito in Lagos says, did you know that Lagos as a state in Nigeria makes more money than Rwanda as a country? I'm not 100% sure about that, Benito. I mean,
So,
show me some figures. But
so hoodlum should pervade Lagos because of that. I'm trying to understand what the connection there is.
No, I'm trying to, no, let me get to the end, AB. He says, but Rwanda is more developed, clean, and the fastest growing economy in Africa. This is in spite of Lagos in the past 26 years or thereabouts being under one party, one house, and one person's pockets. It's a shame.
Good point.
AY Oniniru says, Nigeria, excuse me, excuse me, Nigeria is gradually becoming a one-party state. AY, relax, it's not going to happen. And Lagos, the most industrialized city in this country, has now become the center of thuggery. Fabian Inekwe says, good morning, sirs. Good morning to you, Fabian. We have always been in mourning, which increased in this dispensation. It's only in this country where our political office holders and military don't have the integrity and dignity to resign in the face of their glaring incompetence. Nigerians continue to be slaughtered like chickens while our leaders prioritize mundane issues. Let everyone be wise. Mr. C's last statement speaks volumes. Ajayi Olonilua from Magodo Jerry Sherry. Good morning to you, Ajayi. Says it's amusing that NLC is just waking up to the reality of the inadequacy of the agreed minimum wage of 70,000 naira. With the terrible inflation ravaging the land as a result of the policies of subsidy removal and floating of the naira, the reality now is that the minimum wage should not be anything less than 250,000 naira. How they will go about their new demand is now left to be seen. This one is coming in from Leko in Lagos. He says, Abata said in his time, if insecurity lasts for 24 hours, the government lasts for more than 24 hours, you mean? The government knows about it. You can see that the president doesn't have the political will because of the gains of the elections in 2027. He's cruising from Japan to Brazil and now on a medical tour in France. He's on leave.
Holiday, leave.
He's on holidays, on leave. I don't know about medical tours. People killed in Katsina, in Borno, in Plateau, and so on and so forth. More Nigerians have been killed in the 2 years of this government than the 8 years under the Buhari administration, etc., etc. This is Joseph Menier in Silver State here in Lagos. He says, honestly speaking, are there sitting governors in these states where terrorism is rife? Let it make sense because we see how swift the police, DSS respond to any planned protest, and army responds when they hear pipeline vandalism, but are like a desicle when citizens are slaughtered like chickens. Yet leaders pretend as if nothing happens. But it happened. Yeah. Let our leaders remember that what goes up must come down, and what goes around comes around. Tayo Inaja says, DSS, best in doing many things except national security. Thank God Twitter office isn't based in Nigeria because their office invasion would be epic. And then Emeka says, imagine the FBI, CIA, or the KGB writing to X and complaining about a tweet. The APC has reduced our DSS to a caricature and a global laughing stock. All right. And okay, Miriam. All right. Thank you. Okay, Miriam on YouTube. Okay, thank you, Miriam, for that feedback. I will definitely look into that one. Very much appreciated. And you are all appreciated so very much for sending in your messages. We're way over time, but I had to run through all your thoughts this morning because, like I said, we love to hear from you. Thank you, Saul, once again. And big thank you to you, Mr. C, and of course, AB, for making it a power-packed start to our Monday on Freshly Pressed.
Thank you very much. Sadly, we have lost our compatriots in this country. May their lives count for something. Can we mourn properly and not be assaulted with notions of people trying to raise their salaries that they are already unworthy of receiving? That is my view. What they are currently paid, they don't merit. So it is preposterous to think of them actually getting more. Have a great week.
All right. Thank you, Mr. C.
Thank you, Ayo. Thank you, AB. And I just pray that everyone receives the necessary peace, the necessary comfort, wisdom, understanding, and that we go into this week not looking at the perils and the obstacles before us, but that we will all go out and prosper beautifully, will be fruitful, and our work will be rewarding. Let's have a brilliant week ahead.
Let's have a brilliant week ahead, and we've started on an amazing note. Thank you once again for being a part of Freshly Pressed and Smooth Breakfast. Of course, it kicks on sporting action.